as we move on, man, don't forget, again, catch all the Ultimate spinoff shows on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. The Ultimate 216 Show, the Ultimate Cast, the Ultimate Guardians, the Ultimate Buckeyes, the Ultimate Browns. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell to stay in the notification. Coming up next, we talk about the homecoming game as the Kansas City Chiefs come to Cleveland. A couple Cleveland natives come back and will play at the newly named Huntington Bank Field. So you are a former professional athlete from the city of Cleveland. I don't know if you really had aspirations of playing for the Browns. I don't think I've ever asked you anything like that. But the funny thing is, you from the East Side, Kareem from the East Side, Travis from the East Side. And most of us, as we travel as young adults, you know, we would take that trip down I-90 and we would ride past the stadium. Like when you was in high school and you knew you was good enough to go play college, probably pro, did you ever have that thought like, man, I want to play in this stadium, whether it was against or for the Browns? I don't know if you can
Say
hear
that
me.
one more time, Earl. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said, you know, just like in your high school playing days, right? And when you was going to college and you was getting ready and you knew that going pro was a real possibility. How many times did you jump on 90 and ride past that stadium and say, like, either whether it's for the Browns or not, I want to play
here? Honestly, playing for the Browns would have been, in my opinion, would have been a dream come true. But I also think it would have came with a lot of pressure, right? It would have been a lot of pressure to be in your home city with your home. I mean, I grew up in Cleveland. So to see everybody and everybody have access to me at that type of level, I don't know how well I would have handled that, right? I don't know how well I would have dealt with that stress, dealt with the pressure of, I'm the type of guy that wants to always give back and wants to always be present and try to be at this game and that game and be here for them and there. I don't know if I would have dealt with that well, right? On top of being a professional and learning how to be professional and trying to make plays on the field, right? Later in my career, I think I would have handled it fine. But early, right on out of college, I don't know if I would have handled that in the best way. Always wanted to play for the Browns. I mean, you grow up watching, everybody growing up, so that's just what you know. The brown and orange. That's just what you know. But when you play for a different team and come back, that's a different story. Like you got something on you. Like, hey, I'm about to
it.
I'm about to be back in town. I'm about to put on for the city. I'm about to show out. Like everybody gonna see what I can do, what I've been doing. It's just a good feeling. You smell the air. Saturday night you may go get some food you're familiar with, hang with family. So it's definitely something when you come back to town. When you're not drafted by the Browns, you come back to town and be able to be in the home state, home
So
city.
you remember what that week was like for you? Like I can only imagine as a player, you finished the previous week game. You know Cleveland is next up on the schedule. So like, are you trying? Like, what's the routine? You still got practice, still got walkthroughs. Do you get
Mhm.
to Cleveland a day earlier? Is it normal routine, normal schedule? Because you trying to see a few friends you got. You're trying to see your family. You
Mhm.
want to go get some of your
Mhm.
favorite foods. Your time is limited. So like just take me through like what your mental process was like just that week before you even stepped on the football field.
That's actually a good question. So it's a pretty standard week. Practice on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday is a quick practice, and then we head up to Cleveland. I think I was in Jacksonville at the time, so we head up to Cleveland on Saturday. So we get there about early Saturday evening, early in the evening, or kind of late afternoon. And that time, if I remember correctly, I believe we went out with some friends and had this because I mean, in NFL you got a short window to be able to do stuff.
Right.
Like they are real particular, the teams I was on, about how you move around in the cities you're in, right? So we probably had a 2-3 hour window, got some food with some family, came back to the hotel, we got meeting, and then after the meetings around 8:30, 9 o'clock, a few family friends came to the hotel, we chopped it up a little bit, and I went to bed because I needed to put on the next day. Like I needed to, ain't no point of coming home and I ain't gonna ball. Ain't no point of getting there and I ain't gonna do nothing, right?
Right.
So that game, and it's always a game you circle on the calendar. It's always a game like I can't wait to play Cleveland. Number one, you ain't draft me. Number two, that's my hometown city, all my family and friends there, right? So I got to put on. I went to college in Ohio, so what Alliance is like an hour 30, hour 15
Yeah.
from Cleveland. So it was. I already knew it was going to be tons of people there in support, but it was about me actually playing well. So
Yo, I remember that week and I remember that tailgate, and you seen a lot of purple Raiders gear. Like a lot of purple Raiders gear. Like it was more that than Cecil Shorts Jacksonville Jaguars gear. Like those people who cheer for Mount Union,
mhm,
man, they crazy. They like Browns fans. Like they sick in the head for real. And so like that was
mhm.
cool. I remember from where I was sitting at as a fan at that time, Joe Hayden was my favorite player on the Browns. Like we didn't really have many players you can
He was a
identify
baller.
that was a straight up
He was a
dog,
baller.
straight up beast. But like Joe was him. Joe was Mr. Shutdown, Mr. Lockdown, right? And when you scored that touchdown, like just the feedback I was getting, because you know me, you already know, like my fandom for this team has always been crazy. Like
Crazy.
people was like, was you conflicted? And I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't. Like I wasn't. Like Joe Hayden gonna be here. The Browns is the Browns, man. But like to see one of my homeboys, a real friend of mine, come back, and like the crowd was going crazy. Like anytime that your name was said over the loudspeakers and things like that. Like I thought it was a perfect story. This your city, not his. You know what I'm saying? So like to score the game winning touchdown on the Browns' best player in your hometown, like that
Yeah.
hometown villain headline the next day was crazy. It was crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. Like I'll never forget because that game, I was so hyped up. I was so wound up. I had a few drops that game. It was like a 20-yard in cut. I beat Joe Hayden on, and instead of just catching it and running, I was looking before I even caught the ball, and I dropped that thing, right? There was another pass, something. So I was sitting there frustrated, like, man, you got to bounce back. You got to bounce back. What you doing? So when that happened, it was amazing. Josh Gordon went crazy that year
You got the
in that
last laugh.
game. I think he had like,
Yeah, he like
bruh,
230
Josh
something
went
in
for
that
like
game.
230 that game. He was going nuts. He was going crazy. Um, but as a high school athlete, as a high school sports fanatic, right? As a person that follows sports, the plain dealer, especially when we grew up, was a big deal. So
Mhm.
at any point in time, if your name got to be in the plain dealer, or I remember Friday, was it Fridays? They just had the special high school edition in the plain dealer we used to go through and read in class.
Yeah.
Like so for me, it was a flashback. I got to be on the front page of the sports section of the Plain Dealer called Hometown Villain. I'm like, oh, that's the dopest thing ever. That
I
was
still
that
got
was
that.
incredible. I'll
I still
never
got that.
ever forget that.
I know you still got it. I
Man,
still
my
got
dad
it.
do too. He got it hanging.
Speaking of a couple hometown villains,
Fire,
man.
man.
Speaking of a couple other hometown villains, check out this guy, right? Travis Kelce in 3 career games versus the Cleveland Browns, 19 receptions, 218 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. That should be 11.5 average. Bad job out of me. I got to fix that, man. And then the other one is Kareem Hunt. He's coming back. He's only played one game against the Cleveland Browns, 91 rushing yards, 50 receiving yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns and a yards per carry average of 5.4. This is just 2 dudes who have been major contributors to the Chiefs offense. You look at the Chiefs offense right now, 11th in points per game, 6th in passing yards, rush yards per game, 21st, turnovers, they tied for 15th. Kareem in particular, right, didn't get re-signed by the Cleveland Browns. He gets picked up after Pacheco goes down with the injury. And, up until a couple weeks ago, he was a solid contributor to what the Chiefs was doing. I think he got less than 50 yards combined
Yeah.
rushing in his last 2 games since Pacheco been back. But he's been strong. And, I told Mikey McNuggets this morning, I said, with this game being in Cleveland, you can better believe Andy Reid is going to have him a part of that game plan.
Oh man, it's in the OCs and the head coach's mind when we go to certain cities, right? They know their
Mhm.
team, they know their players. You from this is your hometown. Like you said, the player circles it, so they're hype all week. They're talking about it. So I guarantee you, there will be plays, such a plays for Travis. He'll be fed. He'll be targeted a lot. Kareem Hunt, he'll be fed and targeted a lot. Like they're gonna find ways to at least get them a target in the end zone, or try to get them in the end zone, or play really well. That just goes with the territory, right? And plus,
Mhm.
Kareem played for the Browns. right?
Right.
So
Right.
he has not only did he go to Willoughby South and play high school here in Toledo and in a state in Ohio his whole career, he played for the Browns a little bit. So now for the Browns not to sign him back and he left, and I think there might have been a little bit of talk here and there. He like I'm gonna show you what's up. Like I'm gonna show you. You thought Jerome Ford and you thought these guys could do better than me. You know what I mean? Let's see what's going on. So and, Andy Reid's already creative in the first place. So it's going to
Yeah.
be a really good. It's going to be a tough task for the Browns defense. It's going to be a tough task, but it's going to be exciting to see Travis and Kareem kind of do their thing.
Yeah, you look at Travis, man. This is his season stats, man, and just another ball out year. He probably bringing his world famous girlfriend with him. And I was told this is her birthday weekend coming up, so there will be Taylor Swift sightings at Huntington Bank
Oh,
Field. It's crazy because like even as teenagers, man, when we would read up on the Browns has always struggled against tight ends, no matter who the tight end is. And Travis is one of the best in NFL history. You don't have Jock out there at linebacker, and Grant Delpit is having a down year. So the Browns defense is going to be in for a tough challenge trying to stop that dude, especially when you got a DeAndre Hopkins on the outside now. That's another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. So, any thoughts on you think the Browns got a chance to come away victorious in this game, or what's your thoughts on the overall game, knowing like you going against the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to be tough for the Browns to win. I think so. I think the Chiefs' defense is for real. The Chiefs' defense will probably, and I hate to say it, probably force a few turnovers. But I truly believe it's just interesting to watch Travis Kelce as he gets older. And he's
Yeah,
not the same speed. He's not the same guy he was a couple years ago, but he still makes plays. Like you show the season stats. Those are good stats if the season ended today for a tight end. Like he's on his way for another 100 catch season. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. And that's a quote unquote, that's like a down year for him because we
yeah.
used to him making tons of touchdowns. Maybe his yards average per catch would be a little higher, but he's going to have another 100 catch year this year. That's crazy. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on the Browns offense to get by that defense. You got to have a consistent run game, be able to play action and not turn the ball over. And then on the defensive side, how about Patty Mahomes? And it's weird, man, because the Chiefs, they everybody they're not the same. They're not that good. They're finding ways to win. Good teams find ways to win. It doesn't matter how it looks.
You
It may
said
be
this
a
last
doink off
week.
the field goal post. It may be a fluke play, fumble. They find ways to win, and it's not by accident. It's not. I don't care what nobody says. They're doing it too much now. It's not by accident.
Yo, man, you said that last week, man. Good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose.